Joining us now is former Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski. Corey, another historic trip for President Trump. He started it off, of course, this morning with a rousing speech in Poland with the crowds cheering. And, of course, he may be greeted with just a little bit of a different reception here at the G20. What do you make of the significance of the next 2 days?
Well, as you know, the president went to Poland today. His speech was very well received. It was a clear dichotomy from what the mainstream media wants to report, which is that, people don't respect America anymore, that the president is out causing chaos. That's not what's going on. We saw probably 40, 50, 60,000 people in Poland chanting Donald J. Trump, USA. They're so pleased. They're so happy. And the president went there to thank the people of Poland for holding up to their fair share of the bargain when it comes to paying their fair share when it comes to NATO. And this is a very, very different type of conversation that he's going to have with Germany and with other G20 leaders now. The president's been very clear. The United States is not going to continue to be the policeman of the world. Everybody has to pay their fair share. That's going to be on the table for a discussion moving forward. And it is not fair, and it should not be incumbent on the people of the United States to be the world protectors of everybody if those countries aren't willing to pay for their own protection.
We should also point out, Corey, that the president didn't leave it ambiguous enough for the mainstream media to determine. He came right out and said, hey, we've always supported Article 5, and we've done it not just through money, but through our deeds and actions as well, sort of countering the narrative that somehow in his first trip that he did not continue our pledge to Article 5 cooperation with NATO, and also that somehow that left the question of whether or not America will come to the aid of our European allies.
Well, there's no question that the United States is always going to come to the aid of our allies, and that has been a long-standing tradition. But again, the mainstream media on the president's first trip overseas was up in arms that he didn't actually invoke the term Article 5. And as you know, he said it very clearly today, and what this will be is a blip in the radar screen. They don't want to give this president credit where credit is due, but it is a fair and honest conversation to say that the United States will pay their fair share, but other countries are going to need to do that as well. And what we have seen from the time he was the president-elect till today is other countries are increasing their share that they're supposed to be paying, which is fair to the United States, which is putting Americans first, and making sure that NATO is a sustainable, viable option moving forward.
Another one for you, Corey. If you were advising President Trump, what would you want him to get out of this meeting tomorrow with Vladimir Putin?
Well, I think it's very important that the president and Vladimir Putin have a good, candid conversation. Most important in my mind is an opportunity to potentially work together in Syria to defeat ISIS in the place where they are being housed. We want to make sure that we are killing terrorists in their homeland and not in ours. And if there's an opportunity for the United States and Russia to work together to ensure that we have a symbiotic relationship there, one whereby we both agree that ISIS and ISIL needs to be destroyed in that location, very important. We also have to make sure that the relationship between the United States and Russia is such that North Korea has to have a discussion point here. We cannot have a madman launching potentially nuclear weapons for, thousands of miles, ICBMs aimed and targeted not only at the United States, but potentially at Russia as well, should Kim Jong-un decide to change his way of doing things. So I think the United States and Russia and President Trump and Vladimir Putin have to have a very candid conversation about Syria and about North Korea and find ways that we can work together for the betterment of everybody.